Good afternoon. I'd like to ask a question to each one of you and to those who are going to watch this video later online. How many of you, at least once in your life, have seriously thought of committing suicide? When you didn't score well in your exam, or when things went south, when exactly opposite to what you were thinking, or if at all, for youth, when they had the heartbreak. Well, I'm just asking this question. I never tried that. But what if I tell you that as per the World Mental Health Survey, which was conducted recently, 18% of the youth, they think of committing suicide. 9.9% plan their suicide. And 6%, they actually commit suicide. And 100% of those who commit suicide, they do it because they couldn't express their thoughts, their ideas, their emotions, their feelings to their parents, maybe partners, or people around them, especially when it mattered the most. They couldn't send that one message. It remained unsent in their mailbox. Has it happened to you? Have you seen somebody doing or committing suicide because they couldn't express themselves? When we don't express ourselves, our emotions becomes choked. We feel suppressed. And eventually the outburst of such suffering results into such extreme steps in life. And unfortunately, people find it easier to die than expressing themselves. However, there is good news. That there is an approach which could, if not prevent, but at least reduce such extreme steps in our life. And today's talk, I'm going to talk about that approach, and hopefully, if it is able to save one life, this talk would be worth. The first part of that is courage. Every great thing around us is the outcome of somebody's courage. A courage to change the world. A courage to face the adversities, a courage to defy odds, a courage to transform the world, and above all, the courage to speak up and send that one message which could change the world. Often we don't find courage because we think that we are not perfect. However, the very truth of this phenomena is nobody is perfect in this world. And if somebody thinks that they are perfect, it is the perfect example of their imperfect understanding about being perfect. Nobody is perfect. At the moment we understand this, the courage becomes natural. And that enables us to acknowledge, act, and achieve faith in ourselves so that we can explore and express ourselves. So the first step is courage. After that, it starts with clarity, because courage without clarity often becomes a disaster. And that's why seeking clarity in life is also equally important. While working extensively in youth empowerment, especially skilling, while talking to thousands of youth, one thing I have predominantly noticed that lack of clarity. April and May 2020, as my social responsibility, I worked with around 10,000 youth to help them chalk out their career plan and some of the clarity in their life. Whenever I ask a question to them that, what is your career goal? Most of them, almost 99% of them said that I want to become successful. I want to become successful engineer. I want to become successful person. What if somebody comes and says that I want to secure a job at a Google or similar kind of company as an AI engineer, and for that I am focusing on every nuance of AI. Along with that, I am also working on DSA. Along with that, I am also getting mentored by one of the person who is working at Google, whom I found on LinkedIn. The second answer has a clarity. When we pass on clarity, the communication becomes easy. We find it easy to express. One small task for students, those who are here. Today when you go home, just tell your parent that I want to start a startup or I want to do some business and see their response. Patak. But if you say that I want to try one of the startup ideas that I have as a student, I have nothing to lose but a lot to gain because the process of working on a startup will help me develop skills, technical, non-technical, both, which are anyways required in the job. So if my startup goes well, nothing like it. Even if it fails, the skills that I'll develop in the process of working on my startup would help me get the best of the best job in the industry. Now, if you pass on this to your parents, they will definitely support you. Ja Simran ja student ja bacche ja, ji le apni zindagi. So seeking clarity is the most important aspect. However, clarity needs imagination. Clarity needs visualization. And above all, clarity needs time. The most expensive thing in this world. The much needed pause in our busy life. So seek clarity by taking that small pause or multiple pauses in between your busy life so that you can imagine, you can visualize, you can gather insights, you can look at the experiences of life, you can realize the ground realities, and eventually that will offer the best of the best clarity to you. And the third step, when you show courage and gain clarity, the third C, that is confidence, it comes to you naturally. We don't develop confidence. It comes automatically when we show courage and seek clarity in our life. So confidence is a byproduct. After that, once we show courage, get clarity and develop confidence, then the actual communication, the actual stuff starts from there. And that's why we have to understand the effective communication or the technique. Let's talk about the golden rule of effective communication. Connect, convey, and convince. The reference to this concept could be found in one of the books called EvolvingX Methodology for Entrepreneurship, written by a very famous author, Amol Nitave. That's me. Just kidding. But we often forget to connect with people and we start conveying our ideas, our thoughts, without even connecting with that person. How many of you feel frustrated when you get a spam call? Particularly when you are busy in the middle of something important and urgent. What happens? The person who calls us, he or she tries to convey their offers, their products, without even knowing whether we require those products or not, or what all products and services we need in our life. They forget to connect with us and they start conveying, or rather, third step, convincing us. Even if they convey only the lucrative things about their products. This offer, that discount. And with every word, with every sentence, what they do? They try to convince us. Trust me, when I was working on the draft of this speech and writing this part specifically, I got a spam call. Literally, it happened to me, and I was frustrated. However, if we don't connect with the person or people around us, we'll not be able to convey effectively because their connection will be missing. If you could recall the way I started my talk, particularly what I said after coming on the stage, was about to connecting with all of you. And that was a genuine effect or intent to connect with all of you. Unless we connect that, nobody will understand what we are trying to convey them. Now, when we connect with people, convey with clarity and effectively, again, here also the conviction becomes a byproduct. The best way to convince somebody is to convince them without even trying to convince. Because when we try to convince somebody, the person we are trying to convince understands that we are trying to convince him or her, and we may not end up in convincing that person. Why? Because even we convey something, that doesn't fall in place perfectly. To convey effectively, I'll take you back to the previous point. There is a small technique called plan, prepare, and practice. First, we have to plan the outline of our concept. While preparing for this talk, I planned the outline that I'll cover 6 C's of effective communication, which will justify my talk. So that was the high-level plan that we did. Then once that plan was ready, we prepared the content, the references, the examples, the stats, the data. So that goes with the preparation. And once you plan and prepare properly, practice, practice, and practice. Until age 22, for a Marathi medium student like me, grown up in a rural setup, Kurundwad, just 25 kilometers from Sangli, English was an alien language. I still remember our college annual day. As a student council member, I was asked to deliver the vote of thanks. As it was pre-ChatGPT, poor Google data era, I could not even write a script. I asked some of my friends who were from English medium. One of my friends wrote a script for me. I rehearsed those 4 lines for almost 2 weeks, and on the stage, I was like flop shoe. I was blank. Fortunately, I had carried that script in my pocket, so I took it out, read it, and bolted off from the stage as fast as I can. Every stage felt like the end of the world, until I understood the importance of planning, preparation, and practice. When I applied that, ever since then, I have gone from being a failure on the stage to delivering 200 plus keynotes, 60 hours a week boot camps, countless sessions and lectures across multiple B schools on innovation and entrepreneurship as a visiting faculty, and today delivering my 6th TED Talk on a different topic altogether, which is proven through my experience. One talk at a time, one idea at a time, one unsent message at a time. Only when we plan, prepare, and practice, we convey our emotions and feelings effectively, and conviction becomes a byproduct. And let me tell you, proper planning prevents poor performance and portrays a powerful presentation. And that's why we must plan, prepare, and practice. And eventually, the conviction becomes a byproduct. In year 2020, I started my social enterprise to empower millions of youth of Maharashtra to start with, and then our country eventually towards innovation and entrepreneurship. Na bhuto, na bhavishyati kind of a cause. Because everybody wants job. Nobody wants to even think about startup. So making them realize about that and making them work on that and getting their startups, it's a Herculean task. But I picked that cause. The moment I started this, that instant and constant urge to meet one of the most influential and inspirational person I have ever known in my life, it emerged. However, I was scared because I did not have that courage, clarity, and confidence to connect, convey, and convince that person. Then I followed this approach. It took me almost 3.5 years. It took a time. But then when I approached that person, because I could muster the courage, seek the clarity, and confidence came automatically to connect with that person, I conveyed effectively, and I could convince that person. 10th April 2023. In the afternoon, I was blessed with a baby girl. On the same day, my phone beeped. When I checked that, there was an email. When I opened that email, there was a letter sent by my inspiration, late Mr. Ratan Tata. The acknowledgement for the noble cause, the pure intent that we have, I received that. The first sentence in my letter to Mr. Tata was, it took us almost 3.5 years of preparation, planning, and perseverance to be in a position to write the letter to you. The message was loud and clear. Well sent, well received, and well acknowledged. Why? Because of the courage, clarity, confidence, and then connect, convey, and convince. Today, forget about me. Forget about everything else. Think about those feelings that you have. Think about those ideas that you have. Those thoughts, those unsent messages buried beneath your beautiful soul since long. Think of that one cause which is close to your heart, that you want to communicate to the rest of the world. However, you don't have courage. Develop that courage. Do some research, gather insights about it so that you'll get the clarity. And clarity is the best tool to defy anything in our life. And once that is done, confidence will come to you automatically. Connect, convey, and convince so that the message that could change the world, which is resting in your mailbox since long, could reach to the people. And then, eventually, this world would become a better place for all of you. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.